Of Us. And don't get me wrong, Us is beautiful. Us has been the most exhilarating adventure of my young adulthood, but I am going to sell you to this wizard and use whatever cash I can get to pursue a degree in media studies. So, wizard, said Jack, how much for this cow, eh?
The wizard sized up the cow, tugged its udder, scrutinized its spots, tasted its milk, and said, I will give you 4 beans.
Jack said, ha, fat chance, buddy.
The wizard said, I am sorry, but if we're being for real, there was nothing extraordinary about this cow besides its penis. I mean, the milk is just normal milk, but with a slightly nuttier thing going on. 4 beans.
Jack said, no, wizard, this cow is not merely a cow, it is sentimental. The wizard said, okay, 5 beans?
Hey, now we're talking, said Jack. And off he went with his 5 beans. This is fabulous, he thought. I'll plant them, I'll harvest them, and use the beans it yields to pay for an education in humanities.
But when it came to growing, the beans was taking their sweet time. Oh, Jack Warnery. He looked at the beans and thought, why, I ought to sue that wizard. I ought to sue his face off. I ought to... Jack looked up. The beans had sprung from the earth and erected a marvelous stalk. Jack putzed around with it for a little while and tried to climb it.
After a while, Jack looked up and saw that the beanstalk had grown up into the clouds, its peak as high as the heavens. Seems like a schlep, he thought. I'd better just go home and tomorrow go looking for a cow with some kind of marketable quick.
But as he turned to leave, he found that a ladder unfoiled from the beanstalk.
He ascended the ladder. At the top of the beanstalk, there was a golden egg. Oh, sure, thought Jack. Golden eggs are big these days. Surely I will be able to trade this egg for an education in media studies. Not as good as if it was a generational egg owned by my father and grandfather and all that, but still, it's an interesting egg, and it'll get me far, no doubt. Hey, said the giant, you take my egg.
The Jack and the Giant then had a swashbuckling fight. Jack realized he had one remaining bean. He threw it into the giant's gaping maw, and a bean plant sprung forth from it. On his way back home, Jack ran into the wizard who was walking the cow. Wizard, said Jack, I've come into possession of this excellent egg. If I give it to you, will you give me a gift in return? Certainly, said the wizard, and he took the egg. With a flick of his wrist, he gave Jack the greatest gift he could ask for.
The moral of this story is, if you have a cow, make sure to practice healthy boundaries, or you may become absorbed into it. All right. Now this tale is for all of you goons out there who feel like a big zero.
You're bald, you're achy,
Your wife left with the Keurig,
you're banned from Panera Bread.
and you have
Gout.
If this description is familiar to you, fear not, because hope is not lost. Once upon a time, there was 4 ducklings. 3 of these ducklings were reasonable, well-adjusted, and sociable. Tremendous ducklings, superb. But one of the ducks, well, he was a piece of work.
Hey, his name is Terry Sanderson. He stole my money. He stole my credit card and spent $185 at some place called Plastic Hut. I can't prove it was him, but I know it was him. I know it was you, Terry. And he keeps sending my wife emails. He shouldn't be here. He should be in prison.
Leroy, Wilbur, come on. I'm sorry, Wilbur, but clearly he's trying to get his life back on track. He's got a job. There was one duckling.
Terry Sanderson. That's terry.sand1977 at
He
hotmail.com.
was bad at everything. He could not cartwheel or dive roll. He could not juggle nor unicycle as the other ducklings did most illustriously. Around his duckling friends, he felt extremely emasculated. Impotent even. I mean, look at him go. Honestly, I even feel impotent right now. Mostly because I always feel that way ever since my wife left me for a man so masculine his mustache had a motorcycle brake. But also because of these very talented ducklings. Terry, in his misery, decided, well, cripes, I don't have anything going for me as a duckling, so I guess I'll enter the workforce.
The employment agent he saw was a beautiful swan. He said, "Madam, I fear I have failed at being a duck. I cannot cut a wheel, I cannot dive roll, nor juggle, nor unicycle." She said, "Mr. Sanderson, please raise your wings." He raised his wings.
She said, could you give me a quack? He opened his mouth to quack. Oh, the swan said, honey, I know what your problem is. You are in fact not a duck, nor a duckling. You, my boy, are a swan. No wonder you were such a terrible gymnast. You were built to soar.
yourself met with personal and professional failure, disappointing your loved ones, etc., contact a large, sexy goose in your area and she will teach you about your body. Seriously, Samantha Walters on the horizon, and I just assume that they're going to let us, peacefully do our job. It's a democratic society. It's the 21st century.
Enter P. Entertain me, please. Higher, P. Higher. Faster, P. Faster. Faster. Oh, what kind of blithering idiot are you? I can replace you with 1,000 P's more talented than you. Wherever I want to go my darling. Stay the night.
gotta get my hat because without my hat I've been told I look like Ellen DeGeneres. The moral of that story was one should never insult a legume, bean, pea, or lentil. No entity, not God, nor mortal civilian, nor princess, is immune to the prideful wrath of the legume.
Speaking of princesses, here is another story of princess-related conduct. In the town of Dayton, Ohio, there was an extremely beautiful princess temptress named Becky.
Becky was unfortunately trapped by an evil witch in a mud brick tower 100,000 cubits in height. The mud brick tower was guarded by a squadron of brute henchmen. And a fearsome dragon. Becky tried to eat her way out of the tower by gnawing at the bricks, but a gal can only eat so much mud, right?
Besides, the evil witch who kept her there had a whole contract worked out with the Dayton Shopping Plaza that allowed her to keep the mud brick tower of 100,000 cubits there as long as she operated a deli out of its base from the hours of 10 to 3.
And though she was able to indulge in as many pastrami tubes as she pleased, and she did, Becky was plagued with misery. Still, she remained an extremely charismatic and sexually magnetic princess.
She was hence able to charm a virile young knight named Sir William Neely by chatting with him online.
Oh yeah, she's not anything in this tower, no water, no sunlight, but she does have one kindle fire.
After coordinating on Hinge, he flew straight from the bastions of mighty Scotland to battle the dragon guarding the tower and rescue her. Yeah, by the way, this William Neely character held the record for youngest Eagle Scout and most merit badges earned from the Edinburgh chapter of the Boy Scouts of America.
Hey, Slater! Very good, Slater. After slaying the dragon, Sir William Neely entered the castle to claim his bride.
Suddenly, Becky turns the henchman on to Sir William Neely. It turned out Becky was an evil, extremely beautiful princess temptress who faked her own entrapment. Yes! And she was living out of that mud brick tower by choice in order to seduce and corrupt innocent young men on chat rooms.
There is no evil witch who kidnapped her. It was Becky all along who was funneling all of the loose pastrami into tubes and peddling them to the patrons of the Dayton Shopping Plaza, who, by the way, were extremely satisfied because on top of being sexually magnetic, Becky is a gifted meat grinder.
As was her routine, Becky entranced the Sir William Neely into being a mindless drone, joining the ranks of her henchmen. Slowly, as she danced, the knight's manners and chivalry were corrupted by her bacchic aura.
like to stain stick your marinara splotch, am I right, Leroy? You have a little experience with those.
Yes. Trish, please come back.
Hey, the moral of the story is learn to grind meat and you'll make a lot of friends. Oh, oh my, oh,
What is
holy
this?
shit.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's Alice's legs from last year. They're still running.
I thought Alice's legs graduated.
Oh.
Oh, that was impressive.
Do a flip.
Shout,
I can't do it.
Oh, oh.
We got all these ruffians on stage.
We got numerous others. There's a whole zoo out here. It's a whole carnival.
There's all kinds of unbelievable shenanigans going on right here in front of us.
There's a circular man. I wonder what he'll have to do with later. A gyrating individual. It's always good to gyrate. I'm going to ask the audience, am I blowing your ears out? Cheer if no. Be silent if yes. Okay, thank you. Just making sure. All right, and, I'm going to careen all of these fabulous beasts. To their pen, to Kesha. Okay. Animals go away. Animals go away. Animals are walking on stage. On stage. On stage. Thank you, Kesha. We have Kesha here tonight. She's backstage.
How about that, folks? Wasn't that super special?
All right, beautiful.
Now, this is a story about man's hubris. In 1969, when Wilbur and I were only 46 years old,
Oh dear.
NASA decided we ought to go to the moon. What business did we have up there? No one knows.
I say bubkiss.
But no one knows. Before the mission, NASA hired the head wizard of America, Salazan Marzipan. Salazan rounded up a group of supple young men and said, hey, here's the moon. Here's its bumps, its nooks, its crannies, etc. The astronaut said, okay.
The wizard had magicked his most fast mule into a big fat rocket ship. Oh, titanium silver.
The boys were bid adieu at a great big jamboree held by President Willidor Swinkle himself.
The president told the wizard, doggone it, wizard, we've given you our best boys, our supplest boys. Make sure they don't have too much fun in there.
The thing about space travel is it takes unfathomable amounts of time.
We're watching the decay of the human psyche with these two people in here. They're surviving on little tiny crackers. Oh,
The rocket ship whammed into the man on the moon, smashing him flatter than a Coors Light can on a frat boy's forehead. The astronaut punctured his powdery epidermis with the United States of America flag.
On account of they had stayed up all night on the rocket ship playing footsie, the astronauts was tuckered out. And so when the coast was Yeah, the creatures of the moon emerged.
Wow. Look at these creatures. My God, they're preaching. Suki's, is that a lunar land snail? I've never seen one in person because it is from the moon. And there, it's the rare waxing gibbon. Oh, and the crescent moon. Its cry is so clear and stunning, it can be heard from up to 10 moon miles away.
And there on the horizon are the stars of the moon kingdom. Behold, their radiance. They present their moon queen, she, the magnet which seduces the waves, who conducts pelvic pulses with melodious panache. She is an emblem of quietude. She floats.
Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein pills and put your helmet on. Ground control to Major Tom. 7, 6, commencing countdown, engines on. 3, 2, check ignition, and may God's love be with you. This is you've really made the grade, and the papers want to know whose shirt you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare. This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door. And I'm floating in the most peculiar way. And the stars look very different today. For here am I sitting in a tin
And a fight breaks out between the astronauts and the creatures. Well, that was disturbing, but that moon queen, huh? She was a vision. Oh.
This next training module is a safety demonstration concerning soups and stews.
When living in the wild, it's very important to avoid being cooked into a stew. If you are here, there is a chance that you yourself have fallen into a stew and know what I'm talking about. There are two main types of stew, which you are most at risk of falling into. The first is giant stew. You may find yourself stumbling through the forest in the haze of romance and trip and fall into an enormous black pot. Next thing you know, you're waking up going, gee, I'm schwitzing like it's 4th of July. Well, you look down and you're floating on a hunk of broth-soaked beef the size of a Toyota Corolla. Your boxer briefs are stuck to a carrot and you're a little afraid, but mostly you're getting tender. Be honest. How many of you troublemakers know what I'm talking about?
Guilty! It was the 70s, you know. Well, it does
stew so as to trick the giant into swallowing you, the giants are entitled to file legal action against you. So, you gotta get out of the stew.
The second type of stew, of which you are most at risk of falling into, is wicked stepmother stew.
That's stew.
The most famous incident of stepmother stew brewing happened in 2001 to the Schooner family of Plattskin, Oregon. The family had a daughter named Crystal and was an extremely talented carter wheeler.
Her brother, Fronstel, not so much.
In most American households, carter wheeling is a leisurely endeavor. But the children's father, Brock Schooner, was in the oil business and learned he could save on turbines if they powered the oil rig by children's whimsy instead.
So in each of their rigs, they needed a child associate to cart a wheel and jump around and they say, hee 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 hee, in a steel chamber that conducted the whimsy into a fire solvent with which to burn the fossil fuels.
The children's stepmother was the captain of the oil rig and found Cronstal's cartwheels not merely subpar, but insulting. Still, he tried to impress her. The fossil fuels industry had always been a safe space for him, and he'd be damned if he wasn't going to try to give back.
But his stepmother found his persistence insolent. One day, while the father, Brock, was at work, she said, "Hey, Fronstel, I'm sorry I've been so hard on you, buddy. Here, help yourself to this crate of apples. But the apples are really tiny, very, very deep in the crate, so you will have to make sure your head is fully inside the crate with your throat resting on the edge in order to reach it." The stepmother then slammed down the roller of the crate, beheading Fronstel.
Oh, shit!
Yeah.
Did he at least get to eat the tiny apple?
Oh, Leroy, there was no time apple.
Oh, shit!
The stepmother heard Crystal coming home and tried to cover what she had done. She propped up his body against the crate, popped his head back on his body, and stuck an unrelated, regular-sized apple in his hand. He was indistinguishable from his normal, alive boy self, enjoying an autumnal fruit. So indistinguishable that when his sister entered the room, she said, "Hey, Crystal, my brother, let me in on a bite of that autumnal fruit." The boy was silent.
On account of being dead.
But Crystal thought maybe he was just in an apple deliciousness-induced trance, so she gave him a nudge.
Crystal went crying to her stepmother. "Oh my God, I think Cronstal is dead on account of his head no longer being attached to his body."
"Oh, Crystal," said the stepmother, "you've beheaded Cronstal, your brother." "Oh, this will be our little secret," she said. I'm just going to go on a little here. "Let's put your brother in a stew and serve him for dinner when your father comes home. That way nobody will see what happened to the body." So, they did just that. They prepared the stew, and the father came home from work, and he said, "Hello, honey, I am home." And the wicked stepmother served him a big old bowl of boy soup, which he gurgled most salubriously. Can you treat us to some soup noises? Yes, that is what it sounded like. And he consumed all the soup, and he said, "Oh, I do declare, this soup tastes like it was made just for me." And this struck Crystal and the stepmother as a little weird, but they were living for it. But they were mourning. And so Crystal, she took the head of her brother and she placed it as a memorial at the base of the juniper tree at their house. And from Cronstal's head, he sprouted as a beautiful bird.
little tycoon, make sure to become a special little boy, or else you will have to turn into a bird and perform acrobatics for a lot of people.
We seem to have an interlude of ballerina activities in which these people will dance for you ever so nicely. And I wonder, Leroy, do you have any reptile facts that would complement this ballet?
Of course I do. That happens to be my specialty, Wilbur.
Yes.
The Gaboon Viper. It's the snake with the longest fangs in the venomous snake community. It's got 2-inch fangs, and you know that might not sound like a lot, but any more than that, and it would hurt.
Now, this next story, you are probably familiar with, but the truth of how it unfolded has been grossly distorted by media pundits and lobbyists of the anti-wolf variety.
Behold the true story of Little Red Riding Hood and the wolf with whom she developed a strong female friendship.
Our story begins at a cottage on the edge of the woods where Little Red Riding Hood frolicked piously from dawn to dusk.
We are the hot spark before the fire. We are the sweet talk before the deed is done. And if the wind blows while I'm walking this wire, well, I swear I'm gonna come undone. You are a summer. And I'm mid-December. It's been ages since my skin has felt the sun. So darling, please help me remember. Or I swear I'm gonna
Could we pause the music, perhaps, and perhaps start over while we give our beautiful lovely a second to dry off the wolf pole for the wolf pole dance? Could we treat it to do you have them lying around?
Oh, I've got thousands of them, hundreds of thousands sitting under this beautiful hat.
Yes.
Did you know that the biggest turtle in the world is in my house? It's in my living room. I use it as a coffee table. It's surprisingly compliant. I feed it an apple every couple of weeks, and that's, you know, reptiles, they digest slowly. That's all he needs to stay happy.
Absolutely. Now, Miss Wolf, you ready? You ready? Oh my goodness, could we get that fabulous song once again? Where we begin on the edge of the woods where Little Red Riding Hood frolics piously from dawn to dusk.
We are the hot spark before the fire. We are the sweet talk before the deed is done. And if the wind blows while
friendship. Isn't it beautiful, folks?
Hey, wait, who's this broad and why she looks so mad?
Ah, this head. It's Little Red's grandmother, and she's always going on about family values.
Well, Bruce! It's a good thing she's getting tied up and killed. Whatever's happening there, you go, girls. Let's hear it for female friendship and for killing your Republican grandma.
The moral of this story is that there are two wolves inside of you. One is gay. It's a gay wolf. The other one that represents your self-esteem. That wolf is also gay. Hey, do I see some turtles in the distance?
I was just talking
You were
about
just talking about
It's
turtles.
amazing how these things work out.
For real. Goodness. You know, I have a fun fact for everybody. And it is, have you all heard of mystical chicken sexers? No, that's what I thought. So in the farming industry, you know, it's a whole job to distinguish which of the chicks are girls and which of the chicks are boys for their respective industries. And, you know, the way that you determine this factually is by giving the chick a little bit of squeeze. And by the shape of the pellet that it defecates, you can tell the shape of its sphincter, which is whether it's a girl or a boy. But this process is very expensive. So most people, most industries, just hire a mystical chicken sexer. These are people who know intuitively whether it is a girl or a boy. This is true. And these people only have a 2% error rate. You can look it up. I suggest you test yourself if you have this ability, because perhaps you do, and it's very lucrative. I find that very, very interesting. Turtles, scram! Get out of here! Get out of here! Oh, impotent animal. Okay. Now, this is a story about love. The simplest, most sacred kind of love, which is, of course, the love between a grandfather and his grandson.
There once was a sock bird, a cobbler for socks, named Gerbert Funch.
Gerbert Funch believed in the enormous esoteric potential of the human foot. Ensconced by the right sock, he claimed, the human foot is a talisman of great fortune, of bounty and jubilance, pleasure and vitality. But the wrong sock, he warned, could be a harbinger of chaos, pestilence, infertility, even death.
As a benediction to his grandson, Gerbert Funch constructed a gargantuan sock for him. My boy, he said, I gift you this sock in hopes that in the next life you may be a man of enormous foot and sow the pleasures of the cosmos with your bulbous toes.
I don't know, Grandpa, said the grandson. That's kind of gross and weird. He rejected the sock, and Gerbert Funch died from a vicious cocktail of a broken heart and a fatty liver.
But now, Gerbert's grandson had this fucking sock on his hands.
The sock would not leave him alone. It harassed him and tickled his elbows. The grandson dropped to his knees and prayed, Lord, have you a pair of loving ears? I bid you listen. Smite this improprietous sock that I may live in peace. God said,
No! How could you forsake your grandfather's love in such a way? But as we all know, when God says no, you turn to El Diablo.
The grandson asked the devil, how about you, devil? Would you be so dastardly kind as so as to command some demons or imps, even I take imps, to burn this sock? The devil said, sure. And the imps assembled.
I'm glad it's dead.
Crispy son. Okay, here's the fact. I've been sitting tight for the other reptile.
I've got another reptile fact. The world's most dangerous and deceptive snake is named Trish. We were married for 25 years. She told me it was all a lie. The most dangerous thing is, I still miss her anyway.
Shut up, Leroy. She was the whole time. Her casserole was supper.
I'm glad you also feel that way about the casserole. I was very afraid to say anything about the casserole.
Okay. Well, I do wonder if you're ready. I'm going to presume that we are, as the sock burns. No, we're going to put out the sock. I have another fact for you all. They're making video games for pigs. I'm going to assume that you were ruling at the video games for pigs and not for that awesome stuff.
There are video games for pigs!
It's so they're stimulated. Isn't that nice? This encroaching fog is just here. It smells like butter.
It's a C-type fire extinguisher carbon, I can tell by the scent.
Wait, what's the deal? What's the deal with C-type carbon? I'm genuinely curious.
There are three most common types of fire extinguishers. The silver ones contain water. They are unsuitable for electrical or liquid fires. They simply spread it around or make it explode. The second type is B. It is a dry chemical fire extinguisher. This shoots out a powder that smothers the fire, suitable for all types of fire. The last one is carbon, suitable for electrical fires and ordinary combustibles, but not for liquids, as it will simply blow them around.
Okay. Did you know the Chernobyl catfish is not that big because of the radiation? It's actually that big because the radiation killed all of its predators, and so it's just been able to eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. And it's not that big.
I would love to taste one of those. A lot of meat on those fish.
Good for your brain. Good. I mean, okay. Start reading. Start reading. Now, it is a general thumb to be wary of wizards. If you yourself are a wizard, I am sorry. No hate, but you guys are freaks usually. Many of us have had to learn this the hard way. Are those stones hot? Are they hot?
Whether your negligence with wizards has led you or a loved one to be turned into a newt or trapped inside a miniature loop, you know that a wizard is an unpredictable entity. In order to demonstrate the ins and outs of wizard culture and safety, we have one here for you today.
It says here on this skull that this guy's got the cure for loneliness. Pretty cool, huh?
Oh, Wilbur, there is no cure for loneliness.
Oh, Leroy, this wizard says there is, and he has one. Look, he's attracting a crowd of desperate patrons. Maybe you ought to slip in line, huh? It can help you get over Trish and find you a Grish.
But Wilbur, we just said to be wary of wizards.
Yeah, but this guy seems cool. I like his look.
How do we know that he's not a crook or an agent of chaos or some kind of magical pervert?
We can ask him. He can hear us.
Hey, wizard. Are you cool?
Not some kind of pervert? See? Come on, Leroy. Go get him. Go get him. Yeah, let's hear it for Leroy. Get him over Trish, that bitch. Yeah. Okay. It says here that in order to win true love, the wizard will provide each suitor a challenge. Each suitor must prevent his egg from shattering. Oh, crap. Hey, wizard, are these normal eggs? Oh, no, Leroy. Wizard, say the suitors failed to keep the eggs intact. There's not going to be any sort of whimsical, sadistic corporal punishment for that. Oh no, Leroy, I'm sorry, buddy. I thought he was cool. He said he was cool. But my friend is dead. Look at that guy. Look at him go. Everybody cheer for the guy who won the wife. You've done it again. You've got a mess with the wizard. God damn it. Well, take note, folks. This little thing we call life, it's very short. Please, everyone go tell your mother's husband's son that you love him and he's your best friend. And tell your mother's husband that you're sorry in advance if anything ever happens to his son related to a wizard. And assure him that if it ends up being your fault what happens with the wizard, that you're ready to be held accountable. But also not because a wizard's going to do what a wizard's going to do. Don't forget that. Thank you for coming. And stay away from wizards. And good night.